this Saturday in college football, it's conference championship weekend. Big weekend. Do you see the college football playoff rankings?
Georgia.
Yep.
I know USC is in there at number 4.
Yep.
For his team again. Rising flings it downfield. And he's got the tight end. Yasmin is free. Inside the 15. And he rumbles on in.
TCU's in there at 3.
3.
2 is Michigan.
So, yeah, it goes Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC.
I don't want to root for USC, but I only want to root for USC because Pac-12.
Second straight Utah Pac-12 championship.
Right. That's what I was talking to my dad about. He was saying the same thing.
I was
This
like,
is what we're talking about.
Oh, nice.
it feels disgusting to root for USC, but you have to root for Pac-12.
And it's kind of cool because it's the last team I'm kind of rooting for, honestly. Well, besides Georgia, because it's Georgia.
I don't root for Georgia.
They're just they're a pro team. But TCU it's TCU and Michigan who I'm rooting for. They don't have easy. I would say actually, Michigan probably is the easiest, quote unquote, easiest conference championship game against Purdue. I think they're favored by like 20
Who's
points or something.
who's
like
USC playing? Washington?
that. Utah.
Williams throws that direction, and it's intercepted. Picked off by R.J. Hubert for Utah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Why did I say Washington? Yeah, it would have been Utah.
They are
or
up there,
Oregon.
but I think Utah beat Washington. Yeah, Utah's literally one rank above Washington. But yeah, so yeah, it's Utah and USC. Then it's TCU and Kansas State, which will be hella good. Kansas State's number 10 in the country,
Yeah, that's pretty damn good.
so that'll be good. Yeah, then it's Michigan, Purdue. Purdue's not even ranked. Like they're like 75 and made the Big Ten championship game, which is fucking
Get fucked,
hilarious.
Nebraska.
Yeah, right. Nebraska. Hey, they won last week, so hey, that's something.
Nebraska can suck balls. Purdue got in and not them.
Purdue's actually they have like their quarterback's like ranked like 6th in the country, which is crazy. So it might not be a blowout, but we'll see. Georgia LSU is the SEC championship. Georgia's gonna put 50 on these guys. I mean, not even close. There's no way. LSU lost.
LSU is very much an all or nothing team.
Yeah, exactly. They beat Alabama, but then lost to Texas A&M. Make it make sense, you know. Texas A&M's.
That's the beauty of college football.
It's
is that
true.
It's not going to make
Amen.
sense.
Amen.
Any game
Amen.
can go any way. Unless you're Colorado, then you're just going to lose.
Then you just lose unless you play Cal. So
Some fucking how.
all the talk I've been listening, I was listening to like college football with Joel Klatt. That's his name, Joel Klatt.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I didn't know this. He called that Michigan-Ohio State game. He usually does. And he has on CBS a podcast about college football. I didn't know this because I saw in the podcast that he has,
Doug Glatt.
Joel,
Jack Black.
he has like a bunch of CU stuff on. I'm like, what the fuck? Why does he have CU stuff? I know it's college football, but what the fuck? He in the early 2000s he was the quarterback. So
Yeah.
fuck, I didn't know that. But anyways, I was listening to him, and he says, and he brought up a big discussion that I wanted to ask you. Does one of these 4 teams get booted out of the playoff if they lose this Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was saying no.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go with the rankings.
It's Georgia versus LSU. They don't. There's no way they drop
Yeah.
out of the top 4. There's no
yeah,
way.
Georgia has had too good of a season.
They get.
Georgia will stay.
They will probably go to 3. I think.
Michigan's
They go to 3
playing
if they lose.
Purdue,
Correct.
and Purdue's not ranked.
Correct.
They get booted if they.
But they
lose.
have the most impressive record in the entire whole fucking world of college football.
because of the games they played.
Yes. They're
But
12-0. They beat Ohio State in the shoe, which almost nobody can ever do,
Yeah.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
And they won by like twice as much. It was like the most impressive win in college football history for a long time.
So
TCU's got a strong schedule, and Kansas State's a really good football team.
yeah,
Do they get booted out?
and then fucking Utah's number 11. So
Correct. Also a good, really good football team.
USC lost a game this season, didn't they?
Yes.
Who'd they
They're
lose to?
11-1. Fuck. I don't know. Let me check. I'll find it in 2 seconds.
So
I think USC gets booted out if they lose, but I think that's the only team that does.
I feel like TCU.
because what if hypothetically, what if TCU and USC lose? Who's in? For you, who's in? If you're looking at that, you see all of them right there, right?
Yeah.
Who's in if TCU and USC lose?
So for me, see now this is tough because it's voting.
Right.
So
They lost to Utah actually by 1 point. USC's one loss is Utah.
yeah. So here's the thing. It's fucking tough.
It is tough.
Because they're voting, how it works is if they can get Alabama into the playoffs, they're going to get Alabama into the playoffs.
Right.
That's how their voting works. So
like it.
if TCU and USC both lose, they're both out, and then it's going to be Ohio State, Alabama coming in.
There's no way. There's no way both of those teams deserve
They
to be in
they don't.
before Alabama. Why should they be punished? Here's a
No,
good question.
no. What I'm saying, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. That's
Okay,
what I'm saying.
I
That's
understand.
what's going to happen.
I understand. But
There.
let me counter argument to it, just as I know you're playing committee here.
Yeah.
Why should all 4 of these teams, because number 5 and number 6 are both not playing in conference championships, right?
Right.
They both have a bye week this week.
Yep.
Why should these top 4 teams be punished for having to play another game? That's
Yeah.
the whole argument, right?
Right.
So, I think it should be kind of looked at it like that, but
Yeah.
also not.
It should be looked at like that, and then like the toughness of schedule should need to be looked at more heavily and stuff like that. That's the biggest gripe I have against Alabama. Like Alabama's always in the top 10, and they're like, it's practically an NFL team, and it's like, yeah, but they're also like fucking dogging on fucking dog shit teams. half
6 of
the
their
season.
games are really good opponents. 6 of them are really, really bad.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like they don't have tough schedules every single year. Like, sure, they have some noticeable games, but
Right.
all in all, like their schedule,
They're
it's
in
like,
the
yeah, no shit,
hardest
they're gonna
conference
fucking
for
win.
sure, but
Yeah. But anyway, back to the main point. Yeah, Georgia.
I don't
Georgia's
think there's any way Alabama makes it.
So Georgia's playing LSU, who's not ranked, right? Or is LSU ranked?
Yeah,
Oh.
they're 14.
Oh yeah, they're 14.
They were
yeah.
they would be number 4 right now if they won last week.
Yeah,
They were
so,
6th last week.
Yeah, so so what I'm saying, Georgia loses to LSU, they become number 4, but they stay in.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
Michigan,
that's the farthest they go.
yeah, I think they will get dropped to
Same
number
with
4.
Michigan too.
Michigan, yeah, if Michigan loses,
I don't think. No, they stay.
if Michigan loses
They
to
stay. They go to 4.
Kansas State, I think they
Purdue.
would move to 3.
Purdue. They play Purdue. Michigan does.
Oh, Michigan, yeah, they would move to 4 also.
So
if
yeah.
both of them lose, it would be
Georgia
3,
Yeah.
Michigan 4. TCU, if they lose to Kansas State, I think they would stay at 3.
If they lost,
I think they would keep them. No, they would keep.
they
them.
go at 4.
They
They'd
would
have
go
to move
4.
at one.
Yeah,
at
they
least
would
one.
go 4. Okay.
They'd have to
If-
at least move 1.
US.
See, this is where it gets hard with USC.
So I'm talking how I want it to go right now.
Of course.
They would go to 4, or they would stay. If USC lost to Utah,
Less how you want it to go, more of if you were the committee. I
okay.
think, right?
If how I want it to go,
Right.
how I want it to go, Georgia loses, goes to 4. If Michigan
Jesus.
loses, goes to 4. If both of them lose, Georgia 3, Michigan 4.
Which I think is more realistic, yeah.
Yep.
If they were to lose,
TCU
which won't happen.
If
but
TCU loses, because TCU has had a tough schedule.
yeah, they have.
If TCU
and they're
loses,
undefeated. So.
yeah, if TCU loses, it's a top 10 team they lost to. It's
In the
it's
championship week.
in the championship week, they stay at 3. If
or go to, I think that you got to move
and
once.
what I want them,
Okay,
what they want them-
Okay.
TCU stays at 3. TCU has earned.
Then would
the 3rd
Georgia be
spot.
1 then?
Uh-huh.
Like if we're saying all 4 of these teams lose, Georgia would
Be 2.
be 2.
Yeah. And then
Who's number 1 then? Jesus
fuck.
fuck, that would
Yeah.
be fucked up.
dude, if all 3 of those
All 4 of them lose?
if Georgia, Michigan, TCU all lose but USC wins out, they have to be number 1. They
Ugh.
have to win. Because
Ugh.
those were championship games. That's some of the pinnacles.
It's
so
true.
if those teams
Oh, I'd
can't
be so
perform
fucked up.
except for USC has to be number 1.
Dilly's so lost.
So rad. I gotta go bed. I
This,
don't know about you guys.
this has to
I
be a
gotta-
fucking.
I'm
So this is
clapping.
definitely a
It's
video
tapping.
right here. The
Yeah,
fucking sports
it
top.
is. It is.
So yeah, USC has to be number 1 if
I
those
have
3
lost. I'm
teams
listening,
lose. If USC loses, they're gone.
And what's funny is we're gonna upload this 2 days after we know what happens. So,
Is Tennessee doesn't have a championship game, do they?
Who?
Tennessee?
Tennessee
Nope.
whiskey.
Yeah, what's the next team down the list that's going to a championship game? Clemson?
Clemson, yeah.
Damn.
Clemson.
Isn't that
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is wild.
So all 4 of those teams on the outside don't play,
That's
but all 4 of the
that's
in the
fucked.
see what I'm saying?
That's
This
true
is where it's hard.
That's fucked.
So
yeah, because if they replace it, it's like Ohio State goes in, but they're coming in fresh.
and they lost their last game,
Yeah.
so then it's like
But if if Clemson wins, who's Clemson playing? Notre Dame or something?
no, Notre Dame's not in the conference. It's
I thought they were in the conference now.
no, I'm pretty sure no. Pretty sure. Oh, Florida State. I think.
Florida State.
Yeah, Clemson, Florida State. I think.
Where does Clemson go if they beat Florida State? 5?
Yeah, not 6. I think at the most because they lost last week
That's fair.
and they lost like 3 weeks before
All
that.
right.
So
Yeah. So, yeah, how I want it to go.
I thought 9 was.
That's
generous
how I
for them.
want it to go. How I think it will go because the voting sucks, and their bias is shit.
Right. This is why it's changing to a 12-team playoff in 3 years.
Thank
so
God.
Yep.
If Georgia loses,
Right.
they're staying number 1.
If all of them lose, are you saying?
No, if Georgia loses, it stays number 1. If Michigan loses, they're gone.
No.
If TCU loses, or gone or number 4. If
they
TCU
can't.
loses,
They can't. They're,
they are jackasses, dude. They're
I know, but-
fucking jackasses.
but they were like people were saying they should have been number 1 in this ranking.
Doesn't fucking matter. We're not the fucking vote talliers. We're
It's
just
true.
Twitterverse. We're just pawns,
We're just pawns in the whole scheme.
and
yep.
we're just paying them to vote.
Yep.
TCU. If TCU loses, they might keep them to stay just because they need their fucking. That I feel like TCU's and the fucking any Pac-12 team that ever gets in, like Utah got in a little while ago.
Right.
Like they keep them there literally just to be like, so you were not biased.
Right.
These teams can get in, so any team can get in. We're not biased, even though Alabama's always in.
Right.
Like that kind of thing. It's not only just Big Ten and SEC.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think TCU would stay. If fucking
Sorry, I was just messing with it.
if USC loses, they're gone. I
agree.
I think
I agree. I think it's the only team realistically that gets kicked out if they lose.
USC guaranteed gone if they lose.
Yep.
Michigan, I feel like is on a hot seat. I feel like they just don't feel like having them there.
They have the
It's
most
too
impressive.
it's too justified to have it's too justified to make USC get kicked out if they lose.
How crazy?
So
yeah.
that's guaranteed. So the rankings, they need their scapegoat. TCU is their scapegoat.
How about this? This would be crazy. USC loses, so then Ohio State takes number 4.
Yeah.
Georgia loses, and I think what would happen, say if TCU and Michigan won, but Georgia and USC lost, okay? It's like 1 and 4 lost, 2 and 3 won.
Mm-hmm.
They would just shift. So I think TCU would stay at 3, but Georgia would go to 2. I think if they lost, okay, or at the most 3, right? But the point is they'd be at 2 or 3.
I don't think Georgia's moving. Win or lose, they're not moving.
That would be crazy. I think if
They've done it for Alabama.
yeah, but
Alabama's lost games, and they're like, it was a tough game, so they're still number 1.
which is kind of fair.
and it's
if
like,
they're-
so literally someone beat number 1, and now they're not number 1.
But the same goes for Alabama. What you were saying about the schedule as Georgia this year.
Yeah,
They beat Tennessee.
but it doesn't matter. They love him. The voters love him.
I know. So Georgia, I think would go to 2. So all I'm saying, Michigan would go to 1. Okay, if Georgia would lose, Michigan would win. Michigan to number 1, Ohio State number 4. So that means in the semifinal playoff, it'd be Michigan and Ohio State again. That would be fucking nuts.
That would be mental.
Nuts. Because fucking Ohio State would play Michigan back to back. That'd be nuts.
Yeah, but yeah, I just think the voting system's so fucking biased. They're like, okay, we need our SEC team. Who's our SEC team? Okay,
Yeah.
Georgia, sick. We need our Big Ten team. Okay, who's our Big Ten team? Okay, we got them. Okay, now we
Yep.
need our scapegoat. Okay, well, we have 2 of those. Okay, where's Alabama in all of this?
What?
Oh, they're not in it
Just
yet.
no.
Oh, yeah.
Where's Alabama in all of this? Oh, it's not in yet. Okay, so we need to figure out how we're going to get Alabama
Right.
into the playoffs because we
So-
have to have Alabama in the playoffs.
The odds of any of these teams losing is probably somewhat minimal.
Yeah.
I think the most is one team loses here,
Yeah.
and it's TCU or USC.
Yeah.
Georgia is like a 22 point. I could be wrong, but it's like a 20-point favorite on LSU, and
Yeah.
I think it's fair.
Georgia's-
Michigan's probably like a 15-point favorite on Purdue,
Yeah.
which I also think is fair.
Yep.
So those are probably going to be
Kansas
easy
State's
wins.
going to be tough.
That's going to be a
Utah,
hard game,
USC is going to be the toughest game.
especially when Utah has already beaten them this year.
Yeah, and also like I've already talked about this on the fucking podcast
Right.
about how I thoroughly believe the hardest games to win is a Pac-12 on Pac-12 game.
Yeah.
Because they are more passionate about beating any Pac-12 team than they are about beating any other team. So,
That's probably fair.
so
Next week we'll have something really big to talk about because that'll be the final rankings. So
yeah, that's going to
we'll
be
see
it.
what happens.
And
also,
Dilly needs to fucking pay attention so he can talk. But, dude,
Documental.
I'm proud of my Pac-12. I'm proud of them. We've got one in the top 4, and then we've got how many all across the top 25? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
yeah, 6.
6 teams in the top 25. That's fucking great, Pac-12. I'm fucking proud of you guys.
It is good. That
I'm
is
proud. I'm happy to see that.
Good. Yeah, no. Pac-12 has done pretty good this year. They really are really pulling for USC though on Saturday. That's for damn sure. As much as it would
Yeah,
be funny
we're-
if Utah beat them twice, but
Yeah, Utah needs to kind of be quietly fucking shut the fuck up by USC just so we can keep the Pac-12.
give me a clap because we forgot to do that.
With my ass, with my hands.
Ass. Just rips ass into the mic.